Hello everybody, welcome back, as ever, to Building Blocks, where we as ever are programming Minecraft mods live on camera. So, I hope you're all having a decent enough week, and hey, we've got some stuff to do, but first I have some stuff to show off. So, if I head over to the game view, and dial the music volume down a little bit, there we go. Okay, so, previously, when we had the hives running, the terrain generator, determining what was going on there and, like, such would cause...
Guess it's my lucky 13 month, so here's all the luck for you.
Aw, thank you so much, Esper. Remember to everybody, if we get to 40 subscribers on Twitch, then we get to watch me play Dead by Daylight blindfolded. Wouldn't that be fun? Although, given the circumstances, I guess we might end up sewing, like, a face mask or something. That'd be fun to watch, I guess. But anyways, so yes, previously, when we had this up and running and recalculating and stuff, then this redstone would pause for like a minute plus. So, yeah, that was bad. And I have overhauled so heavily. So, calculating rooms from a given volume is its own, like, class now that we just update and wait until it's finished. Detecting room volume, which we can see up there, is also its own thing, and is just set to run until it's finished, and then we do some more stuff. And that also allows me to actually have them be progressive rather than all at once, so consequently, we're able to have everything run happily through like so. And it just saves so much in terms of the lag. Now, I'm about to push a button, and you will see some lag from that, but that's because we perform a, like, big ol', like, tick speed increase as well as a big fill command, so don't worry too much about that. So, yeah, big heavy lag right there, but that's just because we're doing all that to reset it. And... also, I see you, Dusty. Thank you very much. And now that we're fairly certain all of that hive is gone, we hit the button that sets it all back in, and we can keep an eye on the redstone. So there's a teensy bit of lag currently. I believe that's more to do with doing the set block parts. I think that's mostly there. But even then, this is dramatically reduced in terms of how much lag there is. Look, the rooms just spawn in and nothing happens. Aww. Yeah, there's a lot of yips just off to my side here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and also a chicken. Because Foxy has a little friend. So yeah, that is good. It is good to see. So these rooms are now not only stable, but they're also fast. Well, light might be a better way of putting it. I could make them faster, but it's going to be a balancing act between how quickly does it actually calculate everything, and how long is the server frozen for while it does. So, consequently, we've sped things up. There's no longer any lag warnings whatsoever inside of the console. It should be pretty good. Yeah. No, you stay in here. You stay in here, sir. No. And I do still have some tweaking. There's a little bit occasionally of FPS drops that I haven't quite figured out where those are coming from just yet. But suffice it to say that this is one of the things that I'm able to tick off right now. Hi. 100 bits per plushie in the arm. Let me see what I can accomplish here. So let's see, we get you right there. And let's see, let's get Carol. Whoop, right about there. And Foxy. Just one moment, there is. Whoop, there we go. So yeah, many fox, because I keep ending up with foxes. Can't imagine why I keep ending up with foxes, but I keep getting more and more foxes. But yes, here is chicken frond. They are not food, they are frond. Okay, now there's the awkward thing of putting you all back. Okay. There we go. Quietly screenshots. What do you mean quietly? Right. But of course, this is not what we're working on today. This is just something I have been working on over the past, like, week. If we head over to our test world, where we have been quietly working on the pact system and as such. So here's the first thing, is we previously had the deviled egg and the flask of liquid ozone. I have since added the contract, which I believe is called the Faustian contract, to be exact. Yes. And then there's 6 additional ones. So we have the Mage Apple, we have the Goblet of Blood, we have the Ritualistic Dagger, we have the Red String of Fate, we have the Potion of Binding, and we also have the Still Beating Heart, which I don't know if that's remotely anatomically correct, but it gets the point across at the very least. It doesn't have to be a human heart. And yes, Mars, I did see the question. Just getting into the start of the stream here, I have a lot to talk about, so bleh. So yeah, we've gotten 9 different different items to use to start pacts now, and other than that, I've done a fair bit working on different triggers, so there's a lot of different things now that we can actually use to start our pacts, and pacts no longer show up here. So if I just hop in here and walk over to this startling monstrosity, then we can get our deviled egg, eat it, and now we have the pacts, and it looks so much nicer in here. Now, I have evidently hecked up the scrolling somehow. There we are. But we now have like wait commands. We have kill things commands, be killed by things commands, that kind of thing. Does that mean there's going to be 9 patrons? I plan to launch with just 3, like just 3 pacts, 2 patron entities. That being, of course, the Witch and the Kirin. Exactly how many like pacts there are is dependent upon your like resources and such, so if you want to just have the 3 default ones, then you can. There's not necessarily an easy way to get to the pacts that'll be in the next version, that kind of thing, but you'll be able to do all sorts. And this screen obviously is not finished because it still says advancements over there, but if we watch the head, we can see that the head does move around a fair bit. So it just sort of randomly appears. It's like you're looking just sort of in the back of your mind, as it were. Just like, hey, here's this going on, by the way. And the pack tiers can have different items, and there's different names, and I'm planning to have some hover over to like indicate stuff and whatnot, but so far this is what I get. And it's starting to look quite nice, I feel. So, yay for that. But there is one thing missing. If you were keeping close eyes there, you would note that I didn't gain anything in my inventory from that pact incrementing, because currently rewards need to be finished. So that's what we're working on tonight. In answer to your question, Marsh, I don't know off the top of my head how deep the well was, but I want to say it was somewhere in the region of 64 blocks. Between like 46 and 64, I don't recall exactly, because that was many years ago, and it was not heavily planned. Plus, I think it was different in, like, Witch in the Woods. Like, the fun fact, the well in Witch in the Woods is a completely different well to the one that was in Chaosville. I had to construct the one in Witch in the Woods, which is why in, I think technically one of my first appearances in Dave's videos, you can see the well, and it's just heavily under construction. It's like, that was before Witch in the Woods episode 1. Won't be active in chat, but what you'd say hi on. No worries, no worries. Enjoy. Either way, this is gonna end up on YouTube, I'm sure. Okay, right. So that's just what I've been working with in the tile entities for the rifts and whatnot. Here we have different types of reward, which we can currently read from JSON data, or JSON data. JSON's data is always a mess. We have experience, loot table, recipes, and functions, which are the 4 different types of reward that advancements can give you in vanilla. We will be expanding upon this, but I wanted to make sure I could actually handle stuff that already existed first before I started adding in other things. Would it be weird to tell Kieran that I think they are neat? I mean, no. But if anything, they probably need it more this like right now, if anything. So, okay. Packed rewards is frequently being just sort of like reduced at this point. There's a lot of stuff going on in it. But we are working on it. And need to figure out... Okay. Long story short, there are two major things we need to do. First is to actually give a packed tier rewards, now using the current system. That then we can prove actually works. And then is to actually create some kind of readout so that our screen is able to show what you'll get. Now, a few of these do actually also include a take version. So there's the give and then there's the take. And that's not going to necessarily affect all rewards. Like, for instance, loot table determines random loot. I don't know how you would even begin to know, like, what a person is carrying that was given to them from a random loot chest. Additionally, if they just put it into a chest, I wouldn't necessarily be able to find it. So, you can't really take items like that. I can add a give item, like, rewards, and then it could try and take away the items, but again, it's not necessarily certain if you're carrying it. But you can take XP, you can take recipes away, you could trigger a function again, I guess. That again is one of the things I'm not sure how you'd do in reverse, but there's that. So, okay. Over at Pact, here is where we generate our Pacts. Our Pact rewards currently are just empty. We want to actually create a Pact reward that has some rewards in it. And currently that's just created with a list of rewards, so let's just blub. So we want a list of reward handler rewards list. This music sounds a little bit too heavily upbeat. Let's switch to something a bit more chill, shall we? How about that? There's a title. Okay, so rewards list dot add, and then let me see here. We could use the reward type section, which can in fact get the handler. Probably easier for us to just say reward, just to use that. So let's add new reward experience, and let's say 30. And then rewards list dot add. What's another thing we can say? Let's just see what we've got here. Rewards. Recipes, loot. Loot is a possibility. We can give it a list of loot tables. Just notice the stream title. Oh. Here's a good little warlock. You love that drawing. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna have to try and figure out a name of a loot table. Say Minecraft entity chicken. I don't think that's one, but we can go looking in a hot sec there. So let me see. Would entity chicken perhaps have it? Entities chicken. Ah yes, entities chicken. The famous narrator. So then that becomes new packed rewards list. Very good. Okay, so that should mean that we get like chicken rewards as well as 30 experience every single time that we go up a pact. Obviously, this is still not the end game. Well, partially because we've already programmed most of the end game. This is obviously not how this is supposed to be at the end of it. At the end of it, what it'll actually be doing is reading from JSON, which we've already set up for the most part for. We just need to make sure everything works individually before we then make it configurable. I mentioned the tiefling in that drawing being kawaii-ko. I don't know who that is. Is that a D&D character of yours, Para? Oh, Kawaii is your D&D character. Okay, right. But yeah, we've gotten to the point now of here's like a list of things. Do the things. You progress. You get to the end. Something like big and magical happens probably. We actually need to reward our players now. Because otherwise, what's the point of just going to the end game? Friendly reminder that having an end game is also an optional thing for a pack. They can't just have none. Okay. Let's game mode. Game mode, not a game dough. And let's also clear my inventory of all of this guff that's just sitting around here. So, clear at P cookie. Because nothing else here is going to come from chickens, that's for sure. Okay, so we should see our XP bar change, and we should see items. There we go. Okay, again. Good. Nice. Yeah, game dough. A deer that plays video games. Presumably that's like Vesper in like 10-15 years. It's like, hey Dave, you played like video games on YouTube for a while. What was that like? I'd like to give that a shot. Speaking of Vesper continues to like make me feel incredibly old. But then most small children, especially the small children of people I know, always make me feel old. It's like a matter of, I remember you before you existed. Oh god. And now you're staring at me in bewilderment and forming sentences and opinions about me. Warlock Patreon because you misheard patron. I mean, that's sort of what happens. Can you post the link to the picture you're talking about with the Warlock tiefling? Go ahead, in like the chat or in Discord, because I will give you permissions here for the moment. Crowdfunded Warlock. I mean, technically the patron will be the crowdfund part. It's like, hey, you're giving me good vibes, mostly, so I will give you rewards. They're called invocations. Go and set a house on fire. But okay, so we've established that I know what the loot table is for chickens, and we've established that we can get that. Okay, now let's switch it up. So, let's see. So, let's take switch new random 0l dot next int 3. Just gonna make this a bit more interesting. Entities creeper and entities. Would it be Wither or Wither boss? Let's see, entities. I know the Wither has one. Wither skeleton. Or maybe it didn't in this version. I know pretty much everything in like 1.14 has a loot table, but entities Ender Dragon. Is there even anything in that one? Discord's become post-Chibi Witch? Oh, I'll have to give that a look in a second. I did ask people to, like, is there much? Because I need it for reference for a thing. Trying to get, like, some more emotes. And that requires giving an artist reference, so... let's say... gameplay fishing. Why not? Give you, like, some treasure. Gameplay fishing treasure. Chibi Witch emote? I mean, more than one emote of the witch in a chibi style, because a serious looking emote is a weird thing. It's just, obviously the artist that I'm working with for this does not have the slightest clue who the witch is, so... Okay. Right. So you get 30 experience points, which is not necessarily the entire level, but it can be early on, and you get a randomly selected loot of chicken, creeper, or fishing treasure. Right. Let's see that that still works. And then we need to find out a way to put that onto our GUI so that you know what you're gonna get. And that should probably be visible on all tiers that you've completed, as well as whichever one you're next going to get to. It's like, why do I want to get here? Although maybe that should be hidden. What do you guys think? Should that be like something that you don't necessarily know yet? All you know is like the patron gave me, like my Eldritch patron gave me all this cool stuff beforehand, and now they want me to do this stuff, so presumably the next stuff's gonna be even cooler. Or something like that. Like, should that be hidden, or should you know what you're getting into at that point? If the last month has hecked your sleep schedule, clap your hands. I will clap to that. There's a lot of things right now I won't, but I will clap to that. Okay. Eating that. So we should see more XP and random stuff coming in. Apparently we've got chicken stuff twice so far. I am a fool. I've just realized my mistake already. So, I gave it a seed in a freshly generated randomizer, RNG. So consequently, it's always going to pull out the same response. Whoops. Okay. Well, I can make that better. Ah yes, the famed author, Ayn Rand. Good job. Hey, I mean, people don't come here for when things work perfectly. They come here for when I hex something up. Your new schedule is you get into bed at 1 AM and stare out the window for about 2 hours before you're able to sleep. Yeah. I generally have been getting to sleep at like 6 or 7. I would grab some sleeping pills, but Boots is closed. So... okay, let's try that again. With actual randoms. Disco Skull, Spinning Griffins, and Trans Rats Kobolds, yeah. Okay. Somebody asked, by the way, why I always hit, like, chat whenever I'm trying to just pause the screen and, like, click off to somewhere else. It's because if you do F3 and P, it resets between boots, whereas T is just always there. So, it's just useful. We have a bow. Last I checked, chickens don't drop that. Oh yeah, we do appear to be getting some stuff. Some actual gubbins. So we got a bow with infinity, a fishing rod with luck of the sea 2 and lure 2, and we got 2 raw chicken out of the 5 runs here. It might just be that the treasure just resulted in 0 at one point, or maybe we just didn't get anything from the creepers. Mayhaps. But nonetheless, that is good. We've demonstrated that different tiers can have different stuffs. Good. Okay. Now we need to know what we're going to be getting. So, from packed tier, we actually need a readout of the rewards and such. Now, we can get the rewards, so we could just ask packed rewards to, like, read out what, like, some kind of list. Currently, we have packed rewards to string, which is not necessarily useful so far. What is the third pact going to be? My current plan is the Phoenix. And it may be that the end game for that is that you get a Phoenix pet. I don't know just yet. But sort of like more, it's a little much more generic one, really. Deco or Dysock skulls, Cam? Okay. Okay, so we need to get a list of strings. Rewards to strings, I guess this will be. Hey, Mar. Let's see, so we want string list. This should be I reward handler. In this dot rewards, string list dot add rewards to string. Okay, so obviously every different reward needs its own like handler for translating what it is, because it might not necessarily be very straightforward. Don't know how we're gonna put a name to what a loot table is, or a function for that matter. Are we reading packed items from a file? Currently it's entirely random. We're just more sort of making sure that the actual system for running everything works, and then we'll be able to read them all from a file after that. But yes, everything will be configurable in the like released version. So it won't just be all of this right now, which is pretty straightforward. And hey, Dusty, thank you for the gift, Seb. We eke closer and closer to that blindfolded Dead by Daylight stream. God, I'm going to die. I mean, obviously, but more so. So yeah, every pact will be configurable. It's its own little file. In fact, I should be able to just quickly pull them up out of the config. So here we are in the actual thing that the boot ups run from. Here's the config section. Marod, pacts, Kirin, and Which. Currently, these are grossly out of date and have no relevance to what's actually happening. But that's where you'll be able to like change up the config if you want to have different things happening. Say for a mod pack or an adventure map, that kind of thing. You'll be able to make the packs do whatever you like. So currently, we just have different endgames, and we have different tiers with different items, like as their icon and all sorts. So, straightforward. Currently. Yeah, so just display items, randomize, and all sorts. Okay. So, trying to think here. Do I want to keep going it by that, or we probably actually want to have some display data be passed into it, but mainly right now what we want to do is let's just get the list of strings. So there's the volume handler by me, the drifted, the die colors, packed rewards, GUI. There. Okay, so the first start here is we just have the rewards, but now we can actually get a list of strings. Rewards to strings. There you go. Okay. So now we want to, let's see, go through each string. Roughly know how to read from a CSV file, but not a JSON. Yeah. I'm not 100% certain. I haven't really encountered JSONs anywhere else, but it might be a thing that's actually like in just Minecraft's code. So y plus equals font renderer dot height, just so everything's delineated there. And then we want to just draw the string. This is going to be very messy, but it will be a start. So our goal here tonight is to make players actually aware of what a given tier of a pact is going to do and has given them. Okay, we have nothing being read out just yet. Probably because I hacked up and the code isn't being called. Best guess. Lord knows I'm good at that. And let's change off this just to an impossible one that can never be completed. Say I didn't like doing graphics at uni. What UI am I most comfortable with in Java? You've tried AWT and Swing being the worst. None. I'm not comfortable with any UI coding of any kind whatsoever. Literally, I don't know what it is, but my brain can fathom all manner of things, except for graphics programming. Graphics programming does not go into my head. I don't know why. I wish I did. But it doesn't work in my head. Which means that I don't know. Maybe I just haven't been taught in the right fashion.
Oh, woo, I am gay.
But it feels like I can't learn programming for graphics. Everything else, no problem. Can't do graphics. Like, if you give me something to do in graphics programming of any sort, in any kind of system, it will take me several weeks of progressive trial and error. That's it. I wouldn't even necessarily be able to tell you if I'll ever actually finish it. Just don't know why. Just can't do it. But okay, so I got that. And okay, let's see if we're actually calling this function anywhere. We aren't. Well done, me. I'm not ignoring your woos, Nick. Thank you very much for this. Yeah, I can do almost anything else, honestly. I just can't do graphics, and I don't know why. Whoop. There is a problem. What happened here? Access problem. Failed to write core dump. Problematic frame C. Oh, that might just be one of the random errors that happens every now and then. Let's find out by trying it again. There are a few more annoying errors than the inconsistent ones. I also evidently need to fix up the scrolling because that appears to be wonked. It would be too powerful if you could, so God nerfed you. I'll be a one-man game studio. For about the same pay, surprisingly. Right, it will not be called deviled egg anymore. What is it? Here we are. Haha, games industry jokes. Okay, yep, that's a start. It looks horrifying, but that is a start. And yeah, I need to fix up the scrolling here because that is messed up. What's causing that? Let's see, scroll. Need a game developers union? There are some. The trouble is, a lot of big game development studios happen inside the US and Japan. And Japan tends to have a relatively better work ethic, except that they have an almost cultural obsession with, like, semi, like, how do I put this? It's very easy to work people to death in Japan. Not because you're necessarily a bad person, but because they will let you. That's, I think, the easiest way I can say it. Like, there's a big problem with, like, mental health in Japan, which means that workers tend to be stressed in the extreme and overworked without necessarily, like, intending to be, and just all sorts of things, and they don't really get any help for that, so it doesn't really improve. In the US, on the other hand, people make more money if there isn't a union involved to barter. So consequently, there's a huge anti-union thing inside the US. So yeah, that's the major issues of the games industry right there, more or less. Like, people who are overworked and people who are underrepresented. Job done. Eventually, by somebody. The weird part about that is Japan's well aware of this. Like, it's not like a mystery for like Japan at all. They know exactly what's going on. They're not in any delusions of this. It just doesn't seem to improve. That's the weird thing. Made a presentation about Madhouse. Part of it was the assistant animators had fainted in the street because of 300 plus hours of work. Yeah. Anyways, what's going on with this scroll? Why are we having trouble with this? Maybe make that free. I swear this was working much better before. Or actually, maybe it's the 0 part. Maybe that wants to be 0. I'm supposed to be happy enough to... Nope. Okay, fine. Just reboot it. Yeah, obviously I'm a white Englishman. I've almost never really left very far from home, so I can't really speak to 100% what goes on in Japan as, like, a country and a culture and whatnot, but yeah, they got issues. They've got issues. Such as England, to be fair. I'm not gonna tout England as being like, oh yes, we're the messiahs, we know how to do everything right. No, far from it. God, could you imagine if we could do anything right? Also, Japan has you would think that, like, idolizing the military was, like, an American thing. No, it turns out Japan does that as well. Japan has their own military known as the Self-Defense Force, because by constitutional writ, cannot have a military that takes part in engagements elsewhere. So it's self-defense only. And there is so much in their media just praising the SDF because they get paid to. It's bizarre. It's almost like one country kind of conquered the other at one point. Anyways. Enough of that discussion. I call a werewolf YouTuber a like and subscribe. Nick. Interesting. The scroll works, but not at this tier, which would indicate the scroll is at some point triggering. Last one down is scrolling. Then we do that, so we want that, okay. What's interesting is it worked before. So I wonder if it's the max scroll value that's off then. Yeah, getting a little off topic there. The surprising thing is there's actually quite a few good SDF-centric kind of anime series. Like, I think Jipang is one of my favorites. It's just a modern, is it a destroyer? I can't remember. It's a modern SDF ship by the Navy. Gets sent back in time to, like, World War II. They each make no bones of how different the two eras are for their country there. It's very interesting. Welcome to episode 100 of my Minecraft coding series. Today we're going to talk about the government. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is, like, tagged as a game dev, like, stream, so I'm allowed to talk about game development at the very least. And sometimes that means talking about the people that make it hecking hard. Okay, interesting. We don't seem to be moving at all. What's going on with that then? Oh, get level greater than 1. I wonder if that's the problem. Hang on. If there's that... Well, the Minecraft modders came up with a unit testing framework for Minecraft mod making. Neat. I always thought that was published and wait for people to complain. I actually had to, like, note fairly recently that it feels like version 5.2, which is the most recent release version of Various Oddities, was utterly stuffed full of bugs. Like... And I had to remember that that's not because I coded it badly. It's because there was nobody, pretty much, playing with the mod before that version came out, and then suddenly there was thousands, tens of thousands, in fact. So there was more people playing it and finding the bugs. No one had really been playing with the betas before. I'm not terrible, it's the world that's wrong. Okay, that still hasn't fixed it out, presumably because we're actually starting at 0. So let's just block that out entirely and see where it goes. Here's the answer to our government issues: be gay, eat the rich. That might not be the healthiest snack, but we don't currently have McDonald's, so who knows? I was going to claim that they took your Friday shift without informing you, but then you realized it was Good Friday and the store was closed that day, so sleepy day. Oh, have fun. Still need to change the work culture? That happens by eating the rich, Nick. That's how it happens. You eat the rich people, who are the heads of state, the heads of industry, the CEOs, the landlords, that kind of thing. And then there's no one to enforce the old work culture. Job done. My laugh is wonderful. Oh? Always feels a bit forced to me. A bit too formulaic. Can we scroll? Yay, we can scroll. Hooray! Let's see what horrifying thing we've written here. So... somewhere under here is presumably the actual impossible to complete part. Oh, we're doing it in all of them as well. Yeah, so they're all just overriding each other. Like that. We want to make that to be only the ones that are on the current pact. That's our start. crunch work is a thing in indie dev culture too? Yes, because they have to try and keep up with the companies that do crunch culture and also have millions more to work with. Okay, so here we want to check if the pact is the one that we're currently on. So let's see, is current pact. There. So that way we only see one of these. Be gay, eat the rich, commit tax evasion, that's how you beat the government. I mean, if it fails, just move to West Antarctica and found a new society. Watch my video series on how to do that. youtube.com/remembercomic, new millennia. And also subscribe to my channel and ding the bell and like follow me on Twitter and pledge to my Patreon, patreon.com/line. Look, when you live under capitalism, you need to engage in capitalism. How am I finding Space Engineers? It's a lot of fun. There's always like some parts that could be better, but there always are. The latest version added, latest DLC, I think would be the exact term, added, weather, but it only adds weather to worlds generated in that DLC, so it can't actually be applied to my series unless I do some significant chicanery, but whew. Okay, so there we go. Now they're only coming from this one, so now we want to shunt them to the left so that they don't override what we're actually trying to do. And then we should be able to see the impossible to complete section again. So here we want x minus, let's say 5, minus line, well actually, that's the font render for this. String width, that line. What's this about Dead by Daylight terminology? I'm gonna make a video that tries to explain all the various terms that you hear frequently in, like, people playing Dead by Daylight. I had some form of currency lately. That's been there for a while, actually. I haven't figured out how to use it, but I'm also the only person I'm also the only person in Antarctica currently, so. But yeah, there's a lot of terms in like Dead by Daylight that might not necessarily be easy to comprehend. So I figured, yeah, I'll maybe try and put together an actual like guide. Welcome back, Burr. Yep, there we go. Good. So we've got experience, we've got loot, grand. Now we just need to have them actually say something useful, rather than what we're currently seeing here, which is not very much. We also ideally need to have some kind of means to ensure that they don't go off the screen like that. And the best way I can think of that is to use VO helpers. Well, VO helper has a function for limited strings. So that should suffice for that part. And okay, so next, when we ask for the reward to string, we need to actually have it say something as opposed to just be its own, like, class name, essentially. So let's go to reward handler. for now. We'll just have them return get name. And I'll be back in 10 minutes. See you then. Welcome back, everybody. How are we? Hope you had a nice little break. There! Okay, so we are trying to get our rewards to actually be readable and understandable. And we're making a start with just using the XP one because it's incredibly simple. If we go to GUI enchantment, we can in fact see a statement of how much XP is going to be coded, well, going to be used to like enchant a thing. So let's see, the font render should be the main thing for that. If we use that, we should be able to find the value we're looking for. Draw string, player inventory, nameable, nope. There should be a thing that says how many levels you're going to be using. Experience level, there you are. Draw split string. Why do you... Okay, sure. That's a weirdness. Okay, in the classical way of how Minecraft handles this, not the slightest clue exactly how much is going to be in this. So, wow. What is K1? Enchant levels. I think that's just the tiers. I don't think that's the actual, like, amount. Free member race during the enchantment levels of each slot. Okay, never mind. Let's leave that for the moment. Hey, I can figure out the exact translation later. BRB need water? Yeah. The theoretical ideal is to do that while I'm on break, but it's fine. Because that way you don't miss anything. Okay, so at least one of these should be readable. That being the XP reward. The loot table is still going to read out as just, it's a loot table. But let's see what we get. Oh, actually, do I have a... I'm trying to think, do I have just like a button press here? I think I do. Yeah, right here, except that doesn't exist. So we need to change that to packed food. There are 3 types, by the way. There is packed food, packed drink, and just, I think, packed starter or packed item. Contract. Yeah, there we go. So it's just those 3, but they all have data values, so you can go through the different ones. Right, that's gonna save me a bunch of time if I just stand over here. Still been getting water in the break. Mostly listen to me and have a wireless headset. Fair. Okay, there we are. So now we have at least some idea of what we're looking for here. So then the next thing is to get translations for the rest, more or less, ish. Feels like they're not necessarily separating. Not sure what I can do there, but it's, yeah, it's fine. Yes, for, at the first tier, you get 30 XP and treasure of the type Shing. Yeah, it's just right there. I wonder why, oh, I betcha it's because it's rendering underneath that. It's rendering underneath the item in that tier set. What if I should just turn that off for other things? But okay. So for loot, let's see. Could just call it random loot, really. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, space, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That should hit the limiter, so let's see if that gets actually splunk into a different line. Stinking map drawing? I mean, that's not necessarily, like... It's not a very complex thing. It seems a lot more complex than you, like, would expect map drawing to be, especially when you're not actually trying to make them be accurate. Like, if you're doing actual real-world cartography, it's hard, because you have to be very careful with how you draw things. But if you're just making one up, 90% of cartographic, like, protocol goes completely out the window. Like, one of the oldest and most common methods I've seen for creating a fantasy world map and such is spilling pasta onto a page. Like, that's how incredibly, like, irreverent you can be. Okay, 30 XP, random loot. So now that's a start. That's a start. Okay, that would need to be actually translated rather than this, but you want it to be understandable. Spilling pasta. I mean, yeah. Like if unless people are actually going to be using your fantasy world map to sail or to plot a campaign of conquest. Actually, that last both of those figures make more sense. But you don't need to like be accurate to a world that actually exists. That's the major thing. Whatever you draw is what people will use, not what has to be representative. Okay, let's go to Langs. Let's call that assorted loot instead of random. Let's see, and then we've also got a function. And some recipes. Okay. Lang narrates public domain horror stories ASMR. Oof. My voice tastes like rich tea biscuits. That is some interesting synesthesia you got there, Marsh. Okay, so now we need to actually get the name of the function. And I don't think... In general, the toString method returns a string that textually represents this object. Result should be a okay, nope. Class object, yada 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 yada. Aha, that will get the ID. That's probably the thing we're after, actually, so that's fine. Okay, so experience function, loot, recipes. Resource location of the last argument. Okay, yeah, I need to summarize that. So that would be string recipe list. Instead of doing that as a for each, let's make that as an actual count. To string, and if I is lower than recipes.length, and recipe list plus equals a divider. I could see that getting very heartily messy if you used this quite liberally, but should be fine. Just realized what Kieran's voice sounds like? Greek yogurt and honey. Okay. Assorted. Hooray. Good. So now we need to actually add in some of the other ones and see what we get. So here we have the rewards list. Let's actually give it our tier, so an I. So tier 0, we'll just say experience. Tier 1, we'll say treasure. Tier 2, we'll say a function, which might be a little harder to actually just plug in here, because I think we'll actually need... Oh no, we can just give it a function name. Good. Don't think there's any existing, but let's give it that one, see what it does. And let's see, reward recipes. So experience function loot recipe. Loot function, yep, good. And let's say the recipe name is furnace. Okay. Don't understand any of the content. I think Billbox chat is the most random chats in my streams. I mean... you could pay more attention, I don't know. Most of it is not a question of watch this stream to know how to do stuff. Though occasionally that does creep in sort of necessarily as a matter of the medium. Most of it is a matter of watch me be stumped by a problem and then break it. And then frequently explain why the thing being resolved is really cool. Really want to code a game where the player is a dragon and grows up from an egg. I had an idea along that theory, along that kind of premise a while back, but it was sort of a not quite a dating sim. It was like how do you call these? What is that genre called? Relationship game? I don't know. You go through conversations and whatnot. That kind of game. And the concept that I had was that you were a walking sim. I guess it's more of a talking sim than anything else. But yeah, it's like you have a conversation with someone, you choose options, their opinion of you changes in some fashion that is not necessarily dating, and then that changes what you can do in the next step, and so on and so forth, over and over. I guess that's frequently used in like dating sims. I feel like there must be a game, there must be like a name for that model, rather than like, rather than just dating sim. But the concept I had was like you're a dragon who has recently spent much of their horde to move to a new area, and you discover you have to like regrow your hordes and whatnot because you sleep on it. So it's like a meaningful thing. Fuzzy Leapfrog, welcome. And then you also have to deal with the fact that people in this area have a very not necessarily positive view of dragons for whatever reason, and you need to go through and try to like improve the lot and whatnot. So it's like you've I guess that could be called a friendship sim. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Okay, solid loot, function trigger. Yep, good. That is breaking as well into multiple lines. We can't quite reach the other one though because this is set to cannot be complete just yet. So to fix that up, we'll just shift our criteria list up here. Do I know the game Wolf Quest? Does not ring a bell, I'm afraid. Hang on, I can probably do this better. Persona 3 is a dating sim in a way, I guess. A wolf survival simulator kind of deal. Huh, that's what you want from a dragon game? Oh, okay, you want to be a dragon growing up. That's fair, that's fair. Right, yes, we need to count, don't we? Okay. That should now mean that we'll eventually, when we reboot, we'll be able to go through and see all these things. And it's not necessarily a problem if your head is actually like over something because the scrolling lets you move around. So it shouldn't be a problem. It'd probably help if I'd been over here while you guys were looking at that. It's like Goat Simulator, but not as jokey. I want to make something where you can use all the world bidding for Tabaris. I presume that's a homebrew world. That's the curse of being a writer with insufficient time to do writing. Is you always end up coming up with a vast, expansive, amazing world, and you have no time to explain it to anybody. Occasionally, you have to like. Occasionally it's even worse in that you actually do have time, but you have to narrowly funnel it through somebody's experience so that the audience has a way to understand it. And then you end up screwing things up tremendously. Okay, there we go. Unlock our recipes. So for the XP, side list, function trigger, unlock recipes. Good. Good, good, good. Now there is obviously a problem there related to just how I was handling the printing in the recipes. Let's just have a quick look at that. That looks good, though. And obviously I did not quite get the stop part done, but oh well. Only dating game you played was because there was pretty girls in it. I think the only dating game I've ever played, and this is gonna be utterly hilarious to a lot of my audience. I think the only dating game I've ever played, to any degree, and even then probably not, I don't think to completion ever, was might have been the bird one. Yeah, pretty sure it was the bird one. Saint Pigeonations Institute. Heartful Boyfriend, thank you, Marsh. Yes, that's the one. Okay. So we've now actually got the capacity to read and see what's going to happen in our different points. I wonder if it would be... I wonder if it would be wise to have these, be on opposing sides, flip. So because then we can actually have them pretty much never be over each other, as well as pretty much never be over the criteria to get to the next tier. Need to go back to that. The Dr. Bird. Yeah, the Dr. Bird was very lying. The Dr. Bird was very much a lying. And I can't recall, did we actually, Doctor in... Audible Boyfriend Doctor. Yeah. Right, yes. Shu Iwamine. Because we got to, see their portrait. And it's just god damn it! Just this is straight up, a witch kind of character. Just look at them. Although they're just a color palette. They're just a palette swapped witch. Now you replugged the image you adjusted, the one that made them just look straight up like witch. Okay. Yeah, I think it would be good if we actually had them flip, so that the criteria were never on the same side as the upper row, where the rewards are being. Okay. Well, that's just a matter of changing things into UI Pact. That's not too hard. So here we have that. And now we need to give them a boolean of the tier. Maybe a sub-goal bonus stream could be Heartful Boyfriend. It could be, but we'd need to hit the current one first. But yeah, totally. That could absolutely be one. Mirror. That'd be a good name for it. That would need to be for this tier. Okay. What, a witch in the well lying, think of the witch lying? Of the patron one? What would pre-sealing witch think of post-sealing witch, particularly Carpenter Station's witch, where they were avoiding magic as much as possible? Good question. What would you of, like, 10 years ago think of you now? Okay, let's see how that looks. We're basically just trying to increase readability here. You didn't kill over 10,000 versions of yourself? I mean, it was 135,000, by the way, but, you know, genocides don't tend to take that long. There's a sentence that should probably end up on out of context lying in bed, Mon. Okay, so they are ending up correctly, like, staggered, but we do need to flip the mirror value for the rewards. For the rewards? No, for the criteria. Bleed. Like, I'm just saying, 10 years is a perfectly reasonable volume of time in which a lot of people could die. I'm not saying you should. By God, no. No, 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 no. But a lot can happen in 10 years. That's 2.5 US presidencies. Well, yeah, that's 2.5 US presidencies. It's potentially one and a half or less, kind of like the actual presidents, but you know. Oh hey, we got to settle that last time. Look at that. We can use this saddle to ride my way out of this pit. Okay, and that is working flawlessly. Trying to think, though. Do I want to display the rewards of the next tier along with, like, that? That's the main... Like, here's a question, guys. If we look at this and we're looking through it, then do we want to be able to see the rewards that come with the next tier? Like, the one that we're actually, like, going to be completing. There's a question for you. Also, I could really do with, like, decreasing the font size. Also, I probably need to, like, reduce the amount of offset there, like, to, like, maybe 1 rather than 5. Some people have tremendous trauma getting stuck in a well for X amount of time. Yeah! Some people get more mature and settle down. Some people commit genocide. I mean, yeah. Have you never seen, like, the, what's the phrase? The epilogue of, like, any long-standing, series? It's like, Well, you know, this person had a dramatic redemption arc over the course of like 4 seasons of a show. Flash forward like a couple of years, they're an emperor now. You know, they're an emperor. One guy becomes an emperor. Another like starts a family, settles down, opens up a school. You know, people have different things that happen in 10 years. Hiding it would make it harder for people to intentionally stop just short of the endgame event. I mean, assuming they even know what the endgame event is. The endgame event isn't listed in the rewards, it's not added to this list. Therefore, they can't necessarily know what's coming. In 10 years, you're gonna be 27. Oh, poor child. Poor child. You like the thought that witch can be redeemed. I'm less a fan. Witch is capable of change. Give you that, but I don't think they should necessarily be capable of redemption. What if they should be centered? I can probably work on making them centered, but that's like a later thing. What does normal witch lying think of patron witch lying and his kitties? Who knows? What's the thing I'm getting for unused? Oh, the random. Yeah, don't need to worry about that anymore. You ever get your like body to make a click that you're pretty sure should indicate like a need for medical attention? Oh. We know witch isn't completely evil. And what's the not to Godwin this discussion, but Hitler was a vegetarian. What I was talking about, this is Various Oddities. This is a Minecraft mod for 1.12 currently, and it basically adds a whole ton of creatures and mechanics from Dungeons and Dragons to let you have a pretty fantastical adventure kind of thing going on. We are currently working on Warlock Pacts, which could be likened to a quest chain, I guess. That's a pretty decent way of describing them. But we are currently on the stage of getting them to actually display their contents. That should definitely be opposite. But okay, progress. You can feel pity for monsters without condoning their actions. Fair. I think you also like the idea of hidden patron rewards because it sort of mentally gives more of a feeling that the relationship is go do this thing for me, you did it, here, have a thing. Yeah, that's a decent way of looking at it. It's like a warlock is not necessarily aware of what they will be receiving, but it's helpful to have a list of things that you have received. Like, I think one of the better elements of warlock pacts and such is that you are never 100% certain what the end result is going to be, but you know what they've given you, and that's your purpose for continuing. Like, your patron might tear open portals in the fabric of the universe and just spew out a hive of fey creatures, for instance. You don't know. They're way more powerful than you, and that's the whole folly in the engagement. the whole like the whole like pathos, I guess you'd call it, inside of like a warlock pact is I have made a binding contract for my own personal gain with an entity whose power is far in excess of mine and whose motives I do not necessarily comprehend nor fully realize. Whereas with deities, you can at least expect that they have your actual best interests at heart. Okay, why is that still... I guess because I flipped it, not both, didn't I? This probably wants to be the same, then. Yes, Monastery, you are making a very potent, a very poignant reference there. Which I guess, like, to very quickly potentially put a little bit of spoilers in like Critical Role territory. There is a character who is a warlock-ish, and later becomes a paladin. In terms of like dealing with his warlock patron, not the slightest clue what he has, what they have planned. Not the slightest clue, not a single bit. But they know that they give them power if they do stuff for them. With their paladin, with their paladin status, where they have a deity instead, and their deity seems benevolent, seems to have their best interests at heart. So consequently, it's a matter of deities you can usually expect to be like worth their word. Warlock patrons, you have no idea. The whole point is that they are way more powerful than you and have their own objectives and goals. And you are just being used as like a middleman to a degree. So, not necessarily knowing what you're going to get out of a pact is a good thing. Maybe that means people should make good use of loot tables. I don't know. But okay, let's see what we get here. Okay, good. Now it's on the different sides. Grand. Which also means that your rewards pop up where the criteria were. Good. Huzzah. This is why you love warlocks, you love the interactions with patrons. Yeah, you can have that in so many different ways as well. Like, with the post, and of course the stream title is a reference to, there was a list of potential, like, more interesting, unusual kind of relationships with warlock patrons and such. Ranging from bureaucratic to stoner parent or roommate or whatever, to the patron literally just thinks of you as a pet and they're treating you. It's like any number of things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're on equal terms. Wonderful murder fox thing, no saving necessary. Yeah. But okay, I think that's a good arrangement for how this should be visible. I need to figure out either how to reduce the font size or just clip it a bit more. Let's reduce that to -1, and that'll probably be a bit closer in at least. Because yeah, we can see down here, cannot be completed isn't really visible. Roller can have a little magic as a treat. Yeah. The pacts and such are very much a... They're, as I said before, they're very much likenable to a quest chain. But you can only get the benefits from one of them at a time. If you try to go into a different one, you'll lose most of, or at least a decent chunk of the rewards of the other. But deities, which are planned, don't know when I'm going to get to them, but they're planned, will actually be active systems that are that have like objectives, and you are essentially tasked with doing various things, and if you get particular reputations with them and whatnot, then they'll like give you points and you'll get benefits from that kind of thing. They will actively punish you if you offend them in some fashion. So, like, if you forswear them entirely for a different god, for instance, they will actually, like, perform miracles against you. Whereas pacts, you just lose the rewards. Never said it worked, trousers? Oh, grats. Okay, let's see. Probably need a different... Is it clear enough that what is on that line is a reward on the basis of the icon isn't highlighted? Or... for Pixel who can't get pets? Oh. I was on the list? Okay. All of the patrons in the Warlock system here are completely homebrew. They're very much my end of things. I don't know what, if any, Dungeons & Dragons Wizards of the Coast official source material gods I could include. So there may be a god that resembles Paylor. There may be a god that resembles Bokob. There may be one that resembles Farlang, or Obed High, like... But I don't think I'm actually able... I don't know if I'm necessarily allowed to use them verbatim. So... Deities are parents, patrons are sugar daddies. Maybe, okay, is it enough that it's shown next to a disabled icon? Does it need to be next, or does the text need to be a different color to the actual rewards? That's my question here. There's a host of misspellings in chat tonight. You guys, are you okay? Breathe a little bit. Can't go wrong with extra readability? Yeah. Maybe make it gold. Let's see, what's a... Minecraft uses decimal color coding, and that's not the easiest of things to come up with. But... fortunately, it uses the exact same color numbering as armor when you dye it. So there is in fact a armor generator that you can find, which is, there we go, minecraft.tools. Is that the one? No, it's microcommand.science, that's the one. There's a bunch of them, obviously. But you can pretty much just give them whatever color you like. So we want a nice golden color. And that will spit out a give command which includes the number that we want. Which in this case is... 158-33088. Or it should be. Let's find out if that's the number. Can the Kieran be your sugar parents? I mean, they're a patron, so yes. In fact, they're one of the ones that I'm working on. I have a list. If you're in the Discord, you can go into Modding in Bed Mode, it's one of the pinned posts. I have a list of things to complete before I release the next release version. Or beta version, at the very least. And that'll be a lot of stuff, and I want to pin everything off to have as few bugs as possible and such. As few loose ends. And it's gonna be a hecking big update. Suffice it to say. When did I get a lily pad? Okay, let's have a look. Yep, that looks good to me. So now it's a bit clearer. Yeah, I think that works. I think that works quite nicely. But yeah, we do need to worry about the font size over there. Not seen Karen in a while. Dave's around. They were in Line Central 2, I think, today. Just earlier. But they've got a lot going on. Don't really have time for YouTube very much these days. It implies too heavily that your parent likes you. That your patron likes you. Fair! But nothing is that a parent has to like their child or vice versa. God, can you imagine a warlock with a patron, with a relationship with their patron that's like an angry child, an angry teenager? Ah, that's an entertaining thought. Okay. Alright, so now that we've gotten that, let's see if we can't get the actual, like, Z-depth to be better. I'm presuming the font render has a Z-depth value to it. Let's see, there's coloring, random styles, yes. Do draw, yep. It does not. Damn. Okay, trying to think then, how do I make it smaller text? Smaller or larger text should be possible. Didn't know they were on the server. Hope they were doing okay with the pandemic. Yeah, their offices are closed, so they're working from home at best. They've done a couple of pandemic streams. You can find those on their channel recently. Trying to think if I translate backwards, or at least along the z-axis, I should say, to be more exact. Then this is where we get into graphics programming, so this is going to be heavily trial and error. But admittedly, on all levels, on almost all levels, programming is some degree of trial and error, because you don't find the bugs until you try it, and then you get the error. Okay, so let's move it 5 entire pixels, or whatever that measurement is, in... I think that's the forward direction. And if this results in the text being larger or smaller, then we know we found the right way to do this. You ever miss Akko? Yeah, I remember Akko. I did some nice stuff. Good buildings. Catch a warlock and their patron, just the patron has the warlock on a kitty leash, and occasionally there goes the warlock and run around. That's when they go on adventures. Just an entire adventuring party of warlocks who are, like, in that exact relationship, and it's just like, okay, here's a dungeon, off you go to play, kids. And the size appears to have not changed at all, as near as I can tell. Gotta kitty-proof the dungeon. Just a warlock patron that's more like a soccer mom than anything else. That's an entertaining thought. Ah, okay, so that did not affect the text size at all. And there doesn't appear to be anything that we can change in here either. Or maybe I just didn't move it far enough. That's also a possibility, because again, I suck at graphics, so let's find out. Make it 10 times that! Kitty-proof dungeon, a dungeon for toddlers. No, Pura. A dungeon for level 1 warlocks. Unless that's what the patrons... I guess that could be what the patrons refer to as, like, a toddler. Oh, you know, my warlock's at the terrible 2 stage. They think they're invincible, but, you know, they got access to magic missile. Okay, quick check of this, and I'll take my last break of the evening. I'm anticipating absolutely nothing of value, but let's find out. I'm getting so much random junk there as well. Those feel identical in width to me. Well, in size, I should say. So, nope, don't think we fixed it yet. Okay, I'll be back in about 10 minutes. Welcome back, everybody, to the final hour of the evening, and we have managed to get the packed rewards to be distinct between tiers and allow them to actually, like, apply properly. We have gotten the UI to actually have a translated version of what that what that particular reward is, and we have now added them to the UI in a manner that is relatively pleasing. The only slight problem is that we don't have very many characters of space left and right to work with, and I could increase that, but it's just a matter of how big do I want this screen to be, and I don't particularly want it to be huge. Might be something you can check relatively quickly and easily. So we're going to try one little thing that I quickly googled, because that happens a lot when you're programming, honestly, which might change the scale of the text. Let's find out. I need to sleep because you're so sleepy, Marsh? I mean, maybe you should go to sleep. Night, Marsh. Carol says good night. Have a good sleep. I mean, I would say I would be... I would say I'll be going to sleep shortly after stream, but my sleep schedule is another nightmare right now, so that's not likely. Nope, that looks to be exactly the same thing. Interesting. So we still haven't quite gotten it. Also, I need to clear some junk out of my inventory. Jeez. You might, just as a quick note, you might wonder why you would ever make a pact with an impossible to, like, complete criterion. The answer is that's usually done for points where you need to use a command, or some such. And why has my head has turned orange? Huh. That's interesting. I guess it's from that. Let's see if there's anywhere that actually calls this function. Apparently there is. State manager. Huh, interesting. Progress bar? Apparently did it. I wonder why that's interfering with the head. That's weirdness. So let's try changing some other values here, seeing if that affects it. Arco built a base based on Battersea Power Station? Oh, neat. Up you go. Let's get over here, shall we? Jersey spray tan. We don't want that happening. And if we have time, then the next thing we want to do is actually get the running in reverse and removing benefits. Oh, that definitely did something. That definitely did something. It has definitely affected the size. Tiny little weight counter there. Okay. So, obviously, we're gonna need some, we're obviously gonna need some, like, fixing there. But we at least have figured out how to change the size of the text. So, hey, there's that. Let's see. both of those happen here. I can probably just take that, plunk it there, and just do that. So it applies to both of them equally. And then it's just a matter of figuring out what the relational scaling is. Just for good measure. Don't think that's necessary, but just in case it is. Does that say Minecraft butts? Yes, it does, currently. Because it's for a function, but there aren't any actual functions by default. As far as I'm aware, anyways. Have a quick look. Yep, there is no functions, as near as I can tell, by default. So there's nothing we could actually reference currently. But it's there in case we add something, or in case the data pack adds something, all sorts. Oh, what'd I get? Sweeping edge free and fire protection free. Not bad, not bad. Okay, let's get our screen open. Well, I think they're in proper relative positions. But obviously they're not quite in the right position. Not quite. But we can at least see quite a bit more text than we could previously. So now it is just a matter of gluing these back to the icons. Because they're clearly not stapled to the right things just right now, but progress is made. Anyways, I will revert to that change for the moment. Because if I tinker around with that, we're gonna be here all night. Jeez, dear lord. In fact, we technically have been here all night, but either way. But okay, next thing. So when you change your pact, you lose as much of the rewards as I can actually figure out how to take from you. So, that is the next question. Now we can get the pact rewards, and then we can apply them by asking it to take. And for a lot of them, that means not doing very much. So let's see, reward loots. Take from player doesn't succeed. There's no way we can do that reasonably. But experience, we can actually remove it just by taking the value, negating it, and removing that. Okay, so where do I call that? Do I currently call that anywhere? Is the next question, I guess. And let's also start this by actually just having everything be everything just be experience for the moment. Just so that we actually have like a value. Okay, and then we want to go to our pact reward and see what, if anything, applies remove currently. Have I already put that in anywhere? The amount of time this is taking suggests no. Interesting. How have I... Okay, just found something I've never heard of, but apparently I'm overriding. Or there's calling that. That's a weird one. Okay, right. So nothing calls that. So, let's go to there. There we have take rewards. So if rewards equals null, then blep, otherwise this dot rewards dot take from that player. Okay, what calls take rewards, if anything? In lieu of taking items from the players, is it possible to have warlock items that check the user's patron and pact level for use? It's not impossible. It's also not necessarily very reliable. For instance, there's nothing that would prevent necessarily you get a warlock item, you dump it into a hopper network, and it goes into storage somewhere that you just never touch ever again, or it gets used to craft something, that kind of thing. There's no real way to actually concretely take them. But if you do have a pact reward that just gives an item, as opposed to using a loot table, you can at least say specifically there's this thing. But you can't necessarily prevent them from just dumping it somewhere else. Which is a big problem for phylacteries. The phylactery system has a big issue with that. It tries its best to prevent that, to thwart that. Okay, so set pact gets called when you start a new pact. And then it goes through the different things, if you already have a pact, to take the rewards away. So, we have 2 pacts currently inside the setup. The Kirin Pact and the Witch Pact. So if we take the egg, and then we get to the top tier of that, and then we go to the Kirin Pact, we should lose a ton of our experience. Should being the operative word. Not thought as a prevention from players throwing items away, but as a way to take away items given by packs that are defend. I mean, that's the functional question here. It's the same thing. Ooh, mending. Nice. Neat. And get our flask of liquid ozone. So, okay, we can begin that pact. And for a few seconds, we get a bunch of XP down at the bottom here. 30 XP each. Okay. And if we then take the flask of liquid ozone, we apparently lost a lot of XP there, although that doesn't quite seem to be the same amount. Because we were at like mid-20 first. And now there's a problem. Okay, what happened? What happened there? Ah, okay, right, yes. That's a problem with how the handler is dealing with getting the next things. Okay, that's fine. So, yeah, currently it tries to show one to the left and one to the right in incrementals, and that's currently failing, because I programmed that wrong. That happens. So let's see, if index is greater than pact IDs dot size, else if index is lower than 0, there. That should fix that problem. That presumably has been a problem with the Kirin Pact for a while, but it's fine. Obviously, especially with the impossible criterion right now, I do need to add a command that will allow you to actually, like, increment, decrement, change different pacts and whatnot, as well as control what endgames are currently active, because the witch one is instantive, it happens, like, immediately, and then it doesn't need to do anything else, so it just goes dormant. The Kirin one actually has to go on for a long period of time, triggering on a bunch of different events. So that's the one that actually, like, sticks around in the world data. And then you need to actually manually get rid of it. if you can. Obviously, there's like it's possible to theoretically seal all of the witch rifts, kill all the changelings, get rid of the whole hive, that kind of thing. It's possible to clean up from the witches endgame. It's not possible to clean up the Kirin's endgame currently, and endgames don't stop if you get rid of your pact with that, because by then the damage is done. They're the endgame consequence. That's the whole point of them. Okay, let's try it again. We are back to about where we started the last time, so that's good. So I could have sworn we were on 20 XP. And there's still a problem. Oh dear, what's happening here? Index 2, size 2. Greater than or equal to then. Just a very quick thing, really. Trying to get this to work. But yeah, I'd like it if I could get rid of every reward, if I could take all of the benefits that you get. And a lot of them I can. More or less everything after the vanilla ones is actual stuff that I can control a bit more carefully. So caster level increases, that kind of thing. Warlock invocations, if we get around to adding those, that kind of thing. Those are things that I actually can 100% get rid of later, but not so much elsewise. We still... Yep, we're good. Okay. That clicking you can hear in the background is the changeling or whatnot wandering on the pressure plates inside the cage. Thank you for freeing me, says the creature whose form shifts into something horrific. Now I'm free to invade your world. Essentially. Essentially. Okay, so we've completed the witch. Now we take that. We lost a bit of XP there, in which we are now gaining back, and we do seem to be at a net positive. Don't know that I like that part. And that could just be because part of it is client side and part of it's not. Let's see, pact. Actually, on player pact, don't we? Yeah, right there. Yeah. So those are data parameters. Those are in your data manager, and those are values that are set. Those are values that are monitored and kept equal between server and client. Conversely, if we go, let's see, there you are. Experience level, experience total, experience. These are just values. And I have a feeling at least only one of these is actually, at best, is actually kept consistent. But there is an XP command, so let's have a look at that. Not good at wording things simply when tired. Let me try again. You've talked about how if a pact was to give an item to a player, it would be near impossible to then take it away if they abandon the pact. Therefore, a suggestion you asked how possible it would be to have items given by pacts, check if anyone who tried to use them actually had a pact with a relevant patron. If we had a specific item that we created and added, rather than a vanilla item, it's possible. But the vast majority of items that will be given by pacts and such are just going to be items that are just generic, that kind of thing. You might get given a diamond sword with a good enchantment. I can't detect if I can't have a diamond sword detect if it should or shouldn't be used by you. So it's not really feasible. Okay, so this does happen on the server. What is this flag? Ends with L, ends with L. Oh, that's for level. So where... Interesting, this appears to just be exactly what we're doing already. Reward experience. Add experience, right there. Entity player MP. Multiplayer, happy. Just a regular anti-player. Interesting. But it is getting anti-player MP, so there's that. Okay. I was thinking more in a Kirin Lightning Wand or some such. Yeah, in cases of stuff like that, absolutely. We can say that you need to have a certain level and a certain pact. I don't currently have any plans to add such items, but if there was such an item, easy, no problem. But in terms of like, here is just a vanilla apple, a vanilla golden apple, let's say. There's no way for me to prevent you from using it. It's like, oh, like I could give it an MBT data tag that says like associated with a pact or some such, but even then it wouldn't. It would stack with other things eventually or whatnot. It would either A, be a massive headache, or it just wouldn't work. Like items are a big problem in that fashion. This looks to be exactly how I'm doing it. So the only thing that comes to mind is that we're not doing it on the client side, so the client doesn't know necessarily what the server does. That's about the only thing I can think of. Missed the part where he said those are kinds of items. I mean, that's what I mean with, like, the loot tables. Loot tables give random loot. And, consequently, I cannot begin to... I can't begin to store that. It'll be universal across different players. So, consequently, it is impossible for me to know what's going to be given to people if they use the loot table reward and such. So there's no way that I can really say that it must be one of these special pact-based items. So, like, it can be a magic item. It can be powerful. It can be hard to get, even impossible to get otherwise. But there's no way I can know that going in with the code. There's many ways that I can have the code know if something's happening, but it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort for too little gain, really. So just have to say, you lose experience, you lose recipes, caster level, invocations, whatever, but you don't necessarily lose items. And there's no way I could even remotely know how to actually reverse a given function. Like, good to God, no. Functions can be lists of different commands, and the end result of those commands could be wildly inconceivable, unless you knew exactly how, like, what they were doing, and to what, and in the context of what world. It's... Oi. Yeah, that's not doable at all. Oof. Like, this function teleports a armor stand onto this pressure plate, activating some redstone, and then it also, like, summons a wither, but gives it a specific name that other commands pick. Like, especially when you've done almost clockwork command block stuff, it is impossible to gauge how to reverse the effects of a command. Ui. Like, ugh. That's probably more impossible. You thought in the custom packed loot tables... Oh, you thought they were custom packed loot tables, not in using the already existing tables for the mod. Which you can do. You can make custom loot tables and just reference them there. But you can also just use regular ones. Most advancements do, for instance. Well, most advancements have no reward, they're just there for funds, but you can have data packs and this ones. Yeah, I can only imagine that we're taking stuff and it's not necessarily recognizing what's happening. Okay. So for that, we would need to trigger the take from player command, like function here on both ends, presumably notifying the client to do so. And then we could actually make sure it happens both sides and that you have consistency. That's about the only thing I can think of here. Well, gonna go play P5R, then bed. Okay, night more. Have a good one. I actually think I have to more or less call it there, because everything I do for the next like 24 plus minutes is going to be very dull to watch. It's going to be very boring and all sorts. There's not really a visual for that. And it's going to be mostly consisting of me getting consistency between the server and the client on taking rewards away, as well as then tying what we've got here to actual JSON, so that we can actually start reading it out and understanding it, and from there we can actually update the defaults that are in here so that they actually say meaningful stuff rather than what it currently is, which is gobbledygook, essentially. Not really very much going on there at all. But hopefully that should mean that we actually have a functioning, fully working pact system by next week. Who knows? Who knows? Lord knows I have the time. Anyways, hope you've all enjoyed. My next stream, of course, is tomorrow at 7. We have some Dungeons & Dragon hats. And then on Thursday at 9, we have some Monster Hunter World. And on Friday at 9, we have some more Vampire, which I think is like stream 6 now? I'm not 100% certain. The VODs are on YouTube, either way. And on Saturday at 7, we have some more Dungeons & Dragon hats, hopefully, continuing our fight against the horrifying gas zombie. And then followed at 9 with some carousel. I'll be back for more of this on Tuesday. Meanwhile, I do make videos over at youtube.com/comic. I've currently been uploading all of the VODs for 2020 at the very least of this stream on there for people to watch during the lockdown. And everything I do, especially right now, is powered by you at Patreon at patreon.com/lying. Hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all as ever next time.